You are looking at the Vision GS wheel from Moza Racing. This has been a long time coming. It is finally publicly available. This is the new flagship wheel from Moza Racing. Very exciting, feature-packed, and today I get to review it. All right, so as mentioned, this is the new Vision GS wheel from Moza Racing. On the front of the box, it says VGS. They prefer it to be called the Vision GS wheel, so that is what I will call it. This one was sent to me for review free of charge, although words and opinions are, of course, my own. So this one comes in with a retail price of $750 US, and it should be available through the MozaRacing.com store as of the time you're seeing this video. Again, this is the new flagship wheel from Moza Racing. Moza Racing has built a reputation over the past several years, sort of at the value end of the sim racing spectrum, but have increased their offerings, through the direct drive market, all the way from 3.1 to about 21 Newton meters of torque on their wheelbases. And this is the sort of representation of the higher end of Moza Racing at this point. So they do offer discount wheels, but this one is not meant for the discount market at $750 for the wheel alone. It is quite a hefty price, although with the wheel market in sim racing being what it is, I don't feel it's outrageous. So let's talk a little bit more about the features of the Vision GS wheel. So the first thing you notice with the Vision GS wheel is this display here. Yes, this is a touchscreen display in the center of the wheel. It rotates with the wheel, and we'll see that when we get into the game. But as you turn the wheel, your display can be set to not rotate with the wheel, to always follow gravity. So even if you're in the middle of a bank turn or something like that and look down, your wheel will still be parallel with the horizon. It's an interesting feature. But more notably for most people, is the just incredible array of buttons, dials, and knobs on this wheel. Absolutely incredible. I didn't get a final button count, but it is huge. So we have these lighted buttons here, millions of possible colors for these lighted buttons, but we have 4 on this side and 4 of this on this side. As you can see, we have these dials on the bottom, nice click to them. They feel really good. The buttons feel excellent, by the way, great weight to them. And then we have these knobs up here. This one is just a POV hat, I guess you would call it. This one on the right side is actually a funky switch. So in addition to rotating and, up, down, left, right, it also rotates clockwise and counterclockwise and pushes. This one pushes as well. But there is, it's considered a 7-way funky switch. We have the lighted tachometer bar across the top, of course. We talked about the screen. We have dials here and here. Thumb encoder, perhaps, would be the correct term for that. And then if you flip it around, we have a couple of hidden buttons. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but there are hidden buttons back here behind the paddle. So as you're driving, you can just use your middle finger, perhaps, and push those kind of hidden buttons. And although those are not lighted, they do have the same weight as the buttons on the front. You can see we have the carbon fiber paddles at the back, and then more carbon fiber paddles here. These are analog clutch paddles. What else am I talking about? The main body of this Vision GS wheel is carbon fiber. There is nice soft leather around the outside, stitched, as you can see. So excellent materials. These shift paddles and analog clutch paddles are also carbon fiber. It has that legendary Moza Racing quick release. So very feature packed here. And one bonus thing here, you can see that port at the back. That means you can connect this wheel to a non-Moza base. So basically you take this RJ connection, bring it over to the Moza Racing hub, which is sold separately, and then the wheel can be used as standalone, so plug into a different wheelbase, which is a really nice feature. They could have kept it all Moza, but they chose to go a different direction. So I think I have covered most of it here. As you can see, just a huge number of buttons, dials, and knobs. And again, this display is probably what's going to capture the most attention. It's touchscreen. You'll see that when we get in game, and you can scroll through the different screens and find the information you're looking for. And again, it will either stay stationary as you rotate the wheel, or you can choose to have it rotate with your wheel, whichever is preferred. So just a massively feature-packed wheel. So you kind of get, oh, and of course these are magnetic shifters. I'm sure you guessed that already. And apparently I forgot to check this. Yes, okay, so you can kind of see, maybe you can see where the screws attach the paddles to the arm. There is a slot there. So you can move that in and out a tiny bit. So if ergonomics don't work for you from the factory, you can adjust the paddle distance and maybe make it a bit easier on yourself to shift. So again, $750, there's going to be a bit of sticker shock, but when you see what's actually included with this wheel, you kind of go, okay, I kind of understand that a bit more, and you kind of understand how they got to that $750 price. And again, I'm sure it'll be debated, you know, does this fit in with the sort of Moza Racing kind of, is ethos the right word? I don't know. But we associate them with budget for the most part, and then they come out at $750 for a wheel. I mean, this happens to be the same week that SimLab, I believe it was, came out with that Mercedes wheel at $3,500 US. So I know it's got a Mercedes stamp, and so it's not outrageous is what I mean to say, to have a $750 wheel. It's not something probably most of us are just going to buy on a whim, but just the same, I think they have packed as many features as they can into a wheel at this price. So very exciting. I've had this for several weeks, better part of a month, and have had lots of opportunity to test it, and it has been absolutely fantastic. So I'm excited to show you guys. So first we're going to jump in, have a look at the software, then I'll drive it, then we'll come back to the table and wrap things up with the video. All right, so time to talk about the Vision GS wheel based on the experience in the Moza Pithouse software. So as you can see here from the main screen, we can see the wheel coming up. If we go into the either click more or go into the wheel section here, as you can see, we can see all the button numbers, and there's a huge number of buttons on display here. And as you can see, when we press them, we can see which button numbers those are. We can see how the dials work, etc., etc. The hidden buttons at the back, or backside buttons as they call them, and then the dials and rotation, etc., etc. So you guys get the point. We can turn those numbers off so we can see it a little bit more clearly. Starting over here, there are millions of colors you can choose for these buttons, but there's some quick access ones here. So if I just mouse over one of the buttons, currently it's green. Let's say I want to make that yellow. I click yellow, and guess what? It's yellow. You know what? I like this. I don't know what color that is. See how quickly I trailed off there. But yeah, you can choose whatever color you want, including custom colors. So that's pretty cool. So very easy to access that from the screen. Whoops, what happened? There we are. Okay, sorry, it didn't change in here. Yeah, I think we're good there. So as you can see, we have all sorts of options here to set up the tachometer bar across the top, including in-game, if the game supports it. You can have different functions, wheel spin, pit limiter, DRS, etc. You can even set up flag options there. So turn it on, and then your tachometer bar will flash yellow. So pretty neat. We can set up different modes for the clutch paddles here. So you can see right now I have it split axis. If I go combine, then it disables the right one for some reason, or makes them act the same. So you can see when I'm pressing the left paddle that it's going to 100%, or you can make it a button, which is just analog. There's no in between. It's just on or off. Again, I choose axis split, so they both function the same. Let's see here. Choose how these sticks function, and if you mouse over, you get a bit of a explanation there of what it does. We can also adjust the button brightness. Doubtful you'll be able to see it on camera, but that's making these buttons brighter, or all the way off. Let's go to 1. Very, very dim there. So keeping it at 12 seems fine. We can do the same thing for that tachometer bar. If we go into dash settings, this is where it gets really interesting, as you can see. First of all, screen brightness, not a shocker there. dashboard gravity sensing. So as you can see, when I rotate the wheel, that dash stays level, but I can disable that if I want, and then it's going to just keep it fixed. I would probably choose fixed in a game. I remember when Williams F1 was getting critiqued for having no display on the wheel. They said, well, and you could only see it, of course, because if the display was here, then if you had the wheel cranked, you couldn't see the screen. And they said, well, what are you looking at the screen for in the middle of a corner? And I was kind of like, you know what? That's a reasonable explanation. So you can choose to keep it like this, keep it fixed, or again, you can make it rotate with gravity if you wish. Pretty cool. As you can see, there's a bunch of displays here that come preloaded in the software, and you can scroll through them. This is a touch display, so you can scroll through them just using your finger. And even within that, some of them have other modes. This one, of course, I chose one with only one mode, but let's go to the top of the list here. And then this one, as you can see, go from sort of a F1 style, and then choose the timing here. There's tire display. If we go back, let's see what else we have. This one has a map there and timing and gear and speed. So yeah, we can scroll through it like that. Now, what's interesting is you can also choose to create your own. So if you click the new button, we will call this, that's our 604 test. And then we can add various elements. I haven't really dove into it yet. Let's see. We can choose to put an image there. So if you wanted to put your, display name, avatar, whatever you want there, and then there's all these settings here. At the end of the day, this is a complete ground up build. This will take quite some time for me to do. So I'm going to close out of this and show you a bit better of a demonstration. Don't save it. If we go to one of these, like let's say this one, I'll probably never, well, which one would I not use? Let's say I'm not going to use this one. So I can choose the edit here. It's going to open up that same edit page, but as you can see, everything is preloaded there, and it's got the different elements here. So if you want to resize anything, or let's say you didn't want to take out didn't want to see the fuel, you can disable it here, I think. Can you? Maybe you have to save it first. But as you can see, there's two different screens here. You can edit either of them. Anyway, I don't obviously have all the details on editing, but just know you can edit these or create your own from scratch using this tool. So it's a pretty interesting thing. A lot of people prefer that Moza went with SimHub for some of their previous dashes, and I suspect some of those comments will follow this wheel as well. Why didn't you just integrate with SimHub? We have so many displays. Well, for one thing, it's a small round display, so most of the SimHub dashes we have probably won't be that great for this particular display. But just the same, they did sort of extend an olive branch, if you will, and gave you the ability to create your own or edit any of the ones that they have created for you. Or I'm sure you can share as well. So I'm sure there will be a way to share your screens online. So pretty cool experience here thus far with the Vision GS wheel. And looking really good in the software. So that's it. Let's go ahead and get on track, and then we'll return to the table and close it out. All right, so here we are in Assetto Corsa Competizione. And as you can see, I got my Vision GS wheel hooked up to my R16 base. And as you can see, I have the screen rotating. You can turn that feature off. Just kind of interesting. Is it a gimmick? No, it is a feature, but probably something I would turn off. Like you can see it rotating. There's a bit of lag there. It's a bit washy. And anyway, I don't think in the middle of a turn I'll really need to look down and see my speed or gear or anything like that. So probably something I would turn off. But just the same, it is there, and kind of an interesting thing. So, what are my impressions of the Vision GS wheel thus far? Well, it's fantastic. It feels very ergonomic. It feels solid. Like the width is good. There's no flex, no wiggle in this wheel at all. It just is incredible. Really, really well built wheel, and again feels very well ergonomically designed, and comfortable. This leather is very, very soft on the hands. The tachometer bar is nice and bright, as are the lighted buttons on the wheel. Everything can be reached easily. Obviously, the shift paddles are easy to reach. Clutch paddles, I would say the same of. No issues with reaching the buttons, as you can see. Even if I'm reaching for the very inside buttons here, I can still steer the wheel just fine. So, yeah, it is very well designed and feels great. Complaints so far, not much. Again, the lag on the turning of the display, it is what it is. Again, it's probably not something I would use, probably not a feature I would use anyway, so not a big deal. But just the same, there is that bit of lag there as the display kind of finds its center. Also, for some reason, this display, when I shift, you can probably see it, hopefully you can see it. When I shift, it displays neutral for about a half second. I don't know if it's something I'm doing, maybe it's a setting I've got wrong in the Pithouse software, but something is causing that. So it's actually giving a delay in showing what gear I'm in. Again, these are not deal breakers, these are just kind of things I'm noticing. And then there's a very minor rattle of the buttons, which is probably the worst thing I found of this wheel. Doubt you can hear that, but those buttons do rattle a bit. I think it's the buttons. Maybe it's these knobs, I'm not sure. Something is rattling though when I go over a curb, and I would expect, you know, an otherwise extremely well-built wheel to not have any rattles or shaking objects on it. So a little bit annoying, but yeah, nothing even close to a deal breaker. This is an absolutely phenomenal wheel. I love racing with it. I've been using it for over a month now. I've had to kind of keep it hidden from you guys because I've been enjoying it so much. But so I wanted to use it, but I couldn't show it yet. So I've been using this kind of on the down low. But yeah, even after hours and hours of testing, nothing significantly negative to report. A bit of a rattle, bit of slow, you know, washiness on the display rotation. But yeah, not much to talk about here. So huge recommendation based on my in-game experience with the Vision GS wheel. Nothing that would turn me away from this wheel whatsoever. Nothing that would stop me from recommending it. Feels tremendous. Very comfortable, very well ergonomically designed. Everything's nicely within reach. And yeah, that display, again, talking about anything but the centering effect of it or the leveling effect. The screen is nice and bright, easy to see. Having the ability to you know, flip through, find the screen that works for you mid-race is very, very cool. Whoops. And oh, there we go. We even got a map here. I'm not watching where I'm going. I'm probably going to crash out of this race. But pretty cool to see that little mini map there and see where I am relative to the field. It's probably not big enough to where you could really use it to, you know, time a pit stop or anything like that. But just the same, some pretty cool features here. Yeah, very nice, very nice. So, yep, huge positive impressions from me on this Vision GS wheel. And let's go ahead and get back to the table and we'll wrap the video up. We'll talk about the good, the neutral, and the bad of the Moza Racing Vision GS wheel. All right, so time to talk about the good, neutral, and bad. Things I like, things I'm just kind of okay with, and things I don't like about this Vision GS wheel. As I'm sure you heard when I was driving, I love it overall, but it's not perfect, so I do have a bit of feedback on this. So we'll start off with the good things I like, and the first thing is the build quality. This thing just feels fantastic. They've chosen really nice materials here, nice soft leather, carbon fiber in the middle. The back feels nice and solid. The magnets are strong. So just the overall build quality feels really, really good. No complaints whatsoever with the build quality or this thing feeling solid. So nicely done to Moza on that. Second is the count of buttons, knobs, dials, etc. It's really good. I mean, there is a ton here. I think if you're somebody who has to use a button box on the side, those days are probably behind you if you own this wheel. I mean, you know, all the buttons up front, plus the funky switch, These dials, the buttons in the back. I mean, there's a ton going on here. So I can't see many players, many sim racers looking for more in terms of button count. I think they've done a really nice job, including everything anybody could want here. And then we move to the feel. The buttons have a really nice weight to them. The funky switch is solid. The rotation, I mean, these encoders here, good heavy weight to them. Even these dials down here all feel good, no complaints. Most importantly, the buttons we use the most, the shift paddles, feel really, really nice and good weight even to the analog shift paddle. So just overall, really good. Really feel great to use any of the buttons on this wheel. And of course, we can't talk about this wheel without talking about the screen in the middle. Nice to have it there. There's lots of wheels on the market with screens. I don't know of any others where it rotates. It's not huge, but just the same, it gives you enough data here to follow along in case there's any concerns with what gear you're in, perhaps, or how fast you're going on a straight, etc. It's all easily available there. And the customization in the software, huge bonus for that. Really cool that you can build your own. And although I didn't have any luck with it, I would need to go through sort of a tutorial. It is nice to know that that feature is there and you can build your own custom screens. So well done on the center screen on the Vision GS. And then for the next two, we move around back. First one is this quick release. Moza has always had excellent quick releases all the way down to the R3. Like even their entry-level products have this really great quick release system. It is simple. It is effective. There's a lot of companies out there, I wouldn't say who are doing it wrong, but they're trying different things, trying to get better, newer, quick releases. I don't know if faster is the right term there, but anyway, they're trying to improve the quick release. Moza has just kept it simple from day one, and it's solid. And as many times as I go on and off with wheels, because I do so much testing, I've never had a single failure. Could they fail? Sure. But I haven't had a single failure. The wireless system works really well, so the quick release gets a huge thumbs up from me, as always, with all Moza products. And then we talk about this port down here, this port allowing you to use this wheel with different wheelbases that are not Moza. Just connect this to your hub, and then as long as you can get the quick release to fit, or probably you could take the quick release off. I'm certainly not going to do it, but you can do your own research there. But the bottom line is this can be used with non-Moza wheelbases, which I think is a great feature. They could have been selfish. They could have, sold more wheelbases potentially by not making this universally compatible. Not universal, but by making this potentially compatible. But yeah, you just get the separate Moza hub, plug this bad boy in, and you're good to go. And also we talk about ergonomics. This has been perfect for me. I do have larger hands, so it's possible that if you have smaller hands, you might find yourself reaching a little bit. But I honestly don't think I have, Andre the Giant's hands here. So I think for most people, this is going to be wonderfully ergonomic, good size to the wheel. What are we at? 310, 320, I can't remember. I'll put it on the screen. But good size, and I can reach all the buttons easily. No concerns with that. So excellent ergonomics, and this leather is very, very comfortable as well. So it just feels good to hold, feels good to race with. Just excellent ergonomics. They've really nailed it. And then we also talk about the software configuration, the Pithouse software. Being able to choose the buttons as easily as you can now. That wasn't always the case with Moza products, but they've done a really nice job with bringing it up to the level of this Vision GS wheel. And I like that customization. And, you can set the center screen functionality as well. So that Moza Pithouse software, thumbs up as always. And finally, I wasn't sure where to land this. I went back and forth on this. The price. So at $750 US, I have no illusions that people will run out and just buy this day one because everybody has $750 US lying around. I get it. It's not what you would consider cheap, but when you consider the amount of features that they have packed into this wheel, how strong it feels, the quality of the materials, I think $750 is going to give people, and I'm not going to call out brands because there's one specific brand that has absolute soldiers standing for them. So I'm not going to call out brands, but I think there are certain brands of sort of premium wheels that this will give people pause to consider, as they should. I think $750, if you're looking for something up to, say, $1,000, I think you should give this consideration. And again, just they pack so much into it to get up to that $750 price point that I think, I think it justifies the price. So I'm going to go ahead and put price in the good category. And in the neutral category, just one thing, the style. I don't know. I don't love the looks of it, frankly. In the middle here is very busy, very high-tech, very futuristic, lighted buttons, etc. And then you've got this smooth outer sort of, it's the wheel, obviously, but kind of like framing the inside with very smooth, kind of simple textures. And I don't know, it just kind of seems to clash. It's, again, so futuristic and then so timeless up here. So I'm going to put it in the neutral category because I'm sure a lot of people will love the looks of it. I'm sure a lot of people will hate the looks of it. For me, it's fine. It didn't wow me when I first opened the box. I mean, the performance of it does and the build quality, but the looks didn't. So yeah, I'm going to land this one in the neutral category, actually, just in terms of the overall ergonomics. If you look, though, interestingly, at the Mercedes AMG 1 wheel, if you look at Nico Rosberg's latest video, you'll see the wheel of his Mercedes AMG 1, and it looks similar in concept to this wheel. So I don't think Moza's out to lunch with this design. You talk about a multi-million-dollar car having sort of similar ideas in terms of what the wheel could look like. It's not the same, believe me, but you'll see the similarities when you look it up. So I don't think they're completely out to lunch, but again, it just doesn't wow me, so I'm going to put the style kind of in the neutral category. And then the bad things I don't like, there isn't much. One is the button rattling. I praise the build quality. Everything feels solid. Everything feels awesome on this wheel, but the button rattling, it just kind of betrays the rest of the quality build of the product. Yeah, it's just kind of annoying because, again, everything else feels so solid, so well made, and then the buttons rattle. Is it, a concern that the buttons are going to fall off? Of course not. It's just kind of, again, not in line with the rest of the high-quality build of this wheel. So, yeah, gonna unfortunately put that in the bad category. I wish they found a way to tighten that up before it's shipped. And by the way, it might not be the buttons, but something is rattling. It might be these knobs. But you might have been able to hear it when I was driving. There's a slight rattle in this wheel when your force feedback is strong enough. And lastly, in the bad category, also relating to buttons, I wish this shipped with caps. So it does ship with stickers, and there's a lot on offer. But at the same time, it doesn't ship with any caps. And again, getting into this high-quality build, it'd be nice if you could label it as whatever, DRS or any of the other common functions we use in sim racing, rather than just having colors with a sticker over it. So yeah, it'd be nice. I think Moza should look at including button caps moving forward. I don't really know how you would do it for this style of button. I'm not sure if it would work, frankly, but I'm not the guy who's designing it. I think Moza should take that on as a project for future wheels, because stickers just feel a little bit cheap for a wheel of this caliber. All right, but final thoughts. Absolutely blown away. I love this so much. This is my new favorite wheel, and frankly, it's the best wheel I own. I can say without qualification that this is an excellent, excellent wheel. I understand that $750 is not something that everyone can just immediately run out and spend. However, if you are considering a sort of higher-end wheel, I would give consideration to this. Is it the only option on the market? No, there's a lot of great wheels on the market right now, but do give this some consideration because, again, the build quality is fantastic. The, overall layout, the amount of buttons, having the screen in the center that's a touch screen that you can find different data mid-race. I mean, there's just a lot going on here that I think a lot of sim racers will really enjoy. So thank you so much to Moza Racing for sending me this wheel. You'll be seeing a lot of this on my channel in the future. And thanks so much to all of you for watching, and we'll see you next time.